got Pike for Captain Saru was great. He's spicy and nice. Burnham's hair is still a mystery, but Tilly is awesome and I love her so much. Season 2, what am I gonna do?
Well, hello there. This is the worst podcast in the world.
Get into it.
Yeah, this is the, what did we call this? The FREQcast recap of Star Trek Discovery.
Wait, is it
Season
the
2.
FREQcast recap or is it the recap FREQcast?
I have no fucking idea, man. I did not prepare for this at all.
Write in and vote.
But, okay, so I know we got off to a little shaky start there because I hate this show. But I do want to say before we get going that Ebony and I just like to talk shit, and so this is fun for us to do. But we do need your help if you want us to keep going and making these podcasts and finishing out the season. And you can do that in two ways. You can support us at feministfrequency.com/donate, or you can back our drip for our podcasts at Feminist Frequency in general, and that is d.rip/femfreak. Please do that. Ebony and I were also talking about maybe doing a little video chat for you all to listen to this live. So if that's interesting to you, let us know. All right.
Anita needs to fix her camera and lighting situation.
I know, there's no light
happens.
here. Ebony's staring at shadows right now. But I can see
it's
her
creepy.
beautiful
This is
face.
like a horror movie. Like, I'm expecting something to happen.
All right.
Yeah.
So sorry for all that preamble. But
not.
I know.
This sucked.
It was so bad. So I was kind of like, well, man, we're going to do another season. We should up our game and do something better. But I didn't prepare nothing.
Anita and I were recently interviewed for the DIY MFA podcast. And afterwards, both of us were like, wow, that host is really good. We really need to work harder at not being shit. That happened 2 weeks ago, and since I don't think either one of us has put any significant amount of time into not being shit. So, just so you know what you're getting into for season 2 of the Star Trek
We'll be better
Discovery
next week, we
recap
promise.
FREQcast. Yeah, we will. I had wanted to rewatch some episodes of season 1 just to remind myself what happened.
Hell no.
Well, I couldn't bring myself to do it because even though I ended last season on a comparatively high note, certainly compared to where I started, I was like, I just don't care enough. I just want to go in. I want to sink into some Star Trek, and be carried along. And that turned out to be a mistake. I literally could not remember most people's names.
Oh, yeah, I can't remember shit. So this episode was called Brother. It's season 1.
As in, oh, brother.
Sorry, season 2, episode 1. That was a funny joke that I just railroaded. Sorry.
That's okay. There'll be more to come.
I'm sure there will. Yeah. Okay. So if you have been following Ebony and I on Twitter, you know that I am deeply not excited at all for this show, and Ebony has been. I think that Ebony should give us her initial thoughts on this.
Okay, so I have tried to stay away from a lot of writing about this show because I am easily suggestible and easily led. And if someone writes a nuclear hot take that seems even remotely smart to me, I find myself tending in that direction. It's a weakness. I get it. But so I've deliberately stayed away from a lot of writing about it. And so after we watched this show, I real quick went back and read the Vulture piece that you shared, Anita, or maybe, I don't know, I think we might have shared it on our regular Feminist Frequency channel, saying this new season feels more typical and consequently less interesting. And I would agree with that.
Well, we are, okay, one episode.
But the person who wrote that article clearly has been able to watch more than we have. But there's been a hard pivot away from a lot of the stuff that folks were, not so happy with in season 1. So the kind of heavy militarism, the dark tone, So instead what we get is a much lighter, occasionally just straight up goofy kind of episode. I have no idea if the rest of the season is going to be like this. And I just, like, the show hadn't built up enough goodwill over the course of season 1's 13 episodes for me to be into it, for me to be, like, getting down with it.
Your comment about the goofiness of it, there's the first joke that happened was in the elevator. So we don't even recap the show because I don't know what the fuck happened. So we're just going to go into these moments.
Yeah, I couldn't tell you what happened.
No, I couldn't either. And there was like a part where I liked it and I was like, oh, cool. I like 10 minutes of this show. Like,
yeah. Did it happen at like 35 minutes in where you were like, I've had to work so hard to get here?
Yeah. So, the Enterprise like just shows up. Michael is really worried that her brother Spock is going to be there, and there's this whole thing that's going to be a part of the plot of the whole season. And he's not there, and so you're with Captain Pike and two other fucking people. One guy who is a trash bag, which we got to talk about that moment. And then, so it's like very serious, right? Michael's like worried and anxious, and then they're not there. And then all of a sudden, when they land, Captain Pike is like, I'm taking over your ship. And they're like, wait, what the fuck? You didn't tell us you were doing that. So it's very serious, okay? Everyone's like, what is going on? They get in the elevator and they proceed to do like a 3-minute gag. Mm-hmm. That just was so tone deaf. Like the shift didn't work at all. It was about an alien who was sick, and like I thought the rapport between him and the alien and Michael was kind of funny. And not funny, like it would have been good if they knew how to shift tones, man. It was so weird. It was so jarring, and I felt like every time they tried to make jokes, it was really jarring because they don't know how to go between the seriousness of it and adding levity as opposed to now is the time for a joke. Except Tilly. Everything Tilly said was wonderful.
Exactly. Tilly remains my favorite character.
With Tilly, it's organic to her character. It makes sense. Like she is kind of that in this space. But everything else, man, I was like, who the fuck thought this was funny?
Yeah. So, okay. Quick recap, and this is going to be off the top of my head, so this will be shit. And because I also did not know what was going on. So Captain Pike of the Enterprise it takes over, has been, ordered by Starfleet to take over command of Discovery to chase up and discover more about these mysterious, trans-space signals that they received at the end of last season. They track what they think is the source of these signals. They end up in an asteroid field. They put on some frankly amazing spacesuits that blew my fucking mind because it was straight up like bobsled.
Ebony texted me saying, oh, just wait till you see the spacesuits. You're going to pee yourself. Yeah. And I cackled so loudly, I scared my cat. I was like, what the fuck is happening?
If you haven't seen it, I mean, if you just Google a picture of it, you're not going to get the full effect. You need to have watched the whole episode up to that point because when you see them, you're going to lose your mind.
They look like the goddamn Power Rangers.
Yeah. But with moon boots. So they end up going through, flying through a meteorite field. They're dodging asteroids, blah, 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 whatever. One thing I can say is the show still does look really good. They find a crashed and potentially derelict medical frigate. Turns out that it hasn't been abandoned at all. Not everyone is dead. There are a few very heavily wounded crew members there, along with this lone officer from engineering played by Tig Notaro.
I kept being like, why is this voice familiar? It's like, oh, right. They definitely teased her being in this.
Yeah. Then there's some more stuff, blah, blah, blah. Turns out like the asteroid's made of some cool material, blah, blah, blah. Michael Burnham has a hallucination, blah, blah, blah. She ends up back on the Enterprise, blah, blah, blah. We find out that Captain Pike, this version of Captain Pike, is not going back to the Enterprise. He's going to be sticking around. I was so angry. Why do we need another, middle-aged white dude to be the voice of authority? He is unnecessary. I'm so mad Saru didn't get to sit in the captain's chair, that he's losing his shot. That was going to be so dope, right? And then also at one point we're looking around the bridge and I'm looking and I'm seeing black woman, white woman, Asian man, black man, you know, black woman, whatever. And then in the captain's chair, white dude. I was just like, really? Really? Like, we didn't have to do this. Y'all could have gone for anybody. I'm banging on the table, so I'm sorry. I'm screwing up the sound of this podcast. But I was just so disappointed because the fact that they brought Captain Pike into this show, to me, so far anyway, it does nothing. He adds nothing. Like, he's a wonderful addition to the Star Trek universe in other series and even in the J.J. Abrams movies. But he's not necessary here. They could have brought anyone over. And they're doing so well with female characters. Like, I really love how many women we get in this show. Like, really? Don't saddle them with this dude.
Yeah. Oh, God, I'm yawning already. Okay. Sorry. I agree. I was like, why do we have another white dude captain? Like, they are clearly trying to do something with representation on this show, and yet they go with that. Like, right. And the thing to me is that I was like, oh, this feels like a cheap nostalgia ploy to bring in a character that people are already familiar with, but also, like, we're not watching Star Trek to watch I'm watching Star Trek to watch Star Trek, which I'm not getting, which is why I watched the Orville. What? But it does feel like this, like, nostalgic pull of just like, we're going to take everything you like we're going to take as much as we can from TOS so that you want to be engaged with this. I don't know. I will say this, though. So far, I don't like that it's a white dude captain. I don't like that they're doing this nostalgia pull. I don't like any of it. I don't dislike him. And I think I don't dislike him in the way that I don't dislike George Clooney.
I am so disappointed.
I know. I knew it.
This is so, like, I hate to use this term, but I'm going to have to. Anita, that is so basic.
It's so basic. It is the most basic. I was watching it being like, oh, this guy and his little hair, and then is it dyed? And then I was like, oh, but he's like nice, and like he let Michael put him in his place once, but I was sitting there being like, I'm totally buying into the creation of the white male power figure, like that we have been raised and taught to idealize, to look up to respect. Like, it's not that there's anything about that character that is particularly interesting at all. It's purely a product of my as Bell Hooks would call it, patriarchal white supremacist capitalist upbringing.
Yeah, listen. I have no time. Actually, I tweeted about this and someone was like, what? You don't like any version of Captain Pike except Bruce Greenwood? What about Jeffrey Hunter, the guy who originated the role? Yes, I will accept Jeffrey Hunter and Bruce Greenwood. Those are the only two I will accept. But it just, I don't know. We'll see where it goes during season 2. But I'm just like, he's unnecessary. Like, just so completely unnecessary. And you know what I miss, and I didn't get, and I hope we get more of, because we certainly got more of it last season. I like competence porn. And we didn't get a lot of that. We get it through the character of Michael Burnham, right? Like, she's clearly a genius, blah, 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 whatever. And Michael Burnham, I love you. But I want to see that and hear that from other members of the bridge crew. And I also want to feel like the captain himself is special. I got nothing special from this version of Captain Pike. And granted, it's one episode, but I don't feel as if the tracks were laid for him to become a more interesting character. I mean,
the thing that I will say that there was one moment where, and I alluded to this a second ago, where he's like, everyone sound off and all this stuff is happening and we got to save we got to go. I know that there's an infamous chance that there will be.
We're good. We are so good.
It's fine. That there's a small chance that there will be anybody to save and we might die in the process of trying to save them, blah, blah, blah. And so everyone's like telling him that we can't do this. And he gets to Michael and he says, blah. I wrote it down somewhere because I thought it was interesting. But anyways, he's basically like, I don't mind dissent, but you have to have a solution. And Michael does this whole thing where she's like, she's like, if you would let me finish, which he didn't interrupt her. So that also didn't make any sense. But she was like, if you let me finish, no one here is willing to leave like a Starfleet brother or sister behind. Right. And so it was this moment where you see his face go, yeah, okay. Like, yeah. I know I'm new here. I know that I need to understand I need to not be a dick and come in here and take over and like rule over everyone. And I liked that.
Yeah, no, that's a good point. That, you know, he didn't come in there like swinging his dick, which I think is normally the tendency.
And that there's a scene where they're in their Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suits, and oh my God, Pike is gonna die or whatever, and Michael finds a solution to save him. And there's another moment there where she's like, "You need to trust us. Like Discovery has you. Like trust us," which doesn't feel earned. It doesn't feel like the emotional weight of that doesn't feel earned at all. But it did. Like I did kind of like this. Like we're in this together. Let me be smart here. Right? Don't sacrifice yourself.
No, you're absolutely right. You know, one of the things that I struggle with this show is that it seems very clearly written by committee. And so there seems to be these, you know, push and pull kind of impulses with the show, such that you do occasionally get very smart moments like that, and moments where the director is trusting the actors to convey something, you know, fairly complicated, like, you know, authentic reactions. And then you get these kind of jokey, you know, booger moments where people are sneezing on each other. And I just feel like there's too many, there's no sort of organic whole, you know, kind of cohesive tone to the show. And as much as I did not like a lot of season 1, I grew to love it, but as much as I didn't like it, it nevertheless felt like a cohesive whole thing. You know, whether I liked that thing is a different question. It did. You know, I feel like it was trying to do something I didn't like, but, you know, I felt like it was trying to do something. This seems a little bit more uncertain to me, so I'm not sure.
Yeah, I don't know. I will say that I think that the title of this episode should have been, "We got a big fucking budget and we're going to show you it." Because every moment I was like, whoa, okay, that effect. Whoa, what is happening? Yeah. Like, it looked cool, but it also looked really showing off. However, I am here for those digital candles. When you first see Burnham in her room, just like reading or whatever the hell she's doing, there's all these candles everywhere. And then she blows on one and they all go out, like slowly ripple out. And I was like, I want that future. Like where you still have the behaviors that we have grown accustomed to today, quote unquote, but like in digital form. Like, no, you're just staring at me.
No, I'm trying to think. Do I give a shit about digital candles? No.
But, I do. It's not the digital candles as much as I whoever came up with that idea, I like the way they're thinking about digital technology in the future. How it is reminiscent of today and the ways that we interact with things, but that it's digital, right? It comes with this whole like ease of use that would be in the future, right?
Yeah, no, I think, you know, from the very beginning, I have loved a lot of the art design on this show, the set design. I have loved parts of the ship. I have loved some of the action set pieces. I talked in the last season a lot about costuming, talked a lot about hair, and there will be a resumption of the Michael Burnham hair report.
I got some feelings about it too this episode.
Good. I don't know how you could not. So yeah, that is one thing that I feel I feel as if I'm in good hands visually with the show. And there are always wonderful things to notice in the background. Like there's time spent on these environments. It doesn't feel paper thin or too surface, and I appreciate that.
I mean, it looks better this season. Like it looks richer and bigger and like more in depth, like visually in depth than it did before. And like they clearly have a bigger budget, right? Like there's no doubt about that. They
do. I mean, obviously, it's still going to have that kind of Star Trek gloss. So these are ships that you can't imagine a dust bunny in, or, you know, like, you know, streaked windows. Like everything is very shiny and chromy and new. And that tends, as much as I love Star Trek, that tends not to be the kind of sci-fi that I gravitate towards. I like stuff, you know, I like big rust buckets in space. I think there tend to be more interesting stories that adhere to those. Although I have to say, we do get that great shot once Burnham, Pike, and Commander Nan, so those are the three members of the landing party who has survived. The white dude that Anita hated.
Am I on my own with hating him?
Like, no, I hated him too, but I guess he was such a non-entity for me that, you know,
No,
I didn't rejoice in his getting hit like a cue ball as much as I probably would have if I had hated him as much as, like, he was nothing to me. Like,
okay, I'm going to let you finish your thought, and then I'm going to tell you all of my feelings about that fucking douchebag. Okay.
Well, and also I thought there was something, you know, they were trying to do something cutesy there, and the fact that, you know, the red shirt didn't die. You know?
Yeah.
Which
I was sort of waiting for. And I was like,
exactly.
Are they not? Yeah. So they set him up immediately, right? Like as soon as he lands, like it lingers on his face. I think they cast someone who looks a particular way that you're like, that's a weird casting choice, but not really if you're supposed to hate the dude. But so this goes back to what we're talking about with, like, they chose to have a white dude captain. Yet they are clearly aware of, like, representational conversations that are happening to some degree, because literally the entire point of having that guy was so that he could mansplain to Michael what she's doing wrong when he's actually wrong, and then watch him blow up, and the satisfaction of, like, watching the death of a mansplainer, right? Like, there was something there. I was like, oh, cool.
Oh, yeah,
cool.
there was a definite, you know, sense of delight there.
Super intentional. And that's the thing. It's like, well, okay, you can make this funny joke here, and you can do this little thing here, and you can have two women on the bridge who are like literally saving the day, but yet you still have to have this dude at the helm. And, like, I'm so down with Saru being in charge as well. Like, that would have been awesome. But, like, he still holds the role of, like, white dude, right? Like, on a show that has so many women, why do we not have a woman captain?
Yeah.
Why? Like, of all of the people, there's so many ways you could write this.
Yeah, seriously. And I mean, although, you know, because there are so many great women on that ship, and because we are going to see the return of Philippa Giorgio later in the season, I mean, whatever. You can keep your little unseasoned chicken breast captain if you want. I just refuse to care. But he's unnecessary, and you're never ever going to convince me that I should give a shit about this version of, you know, Captain Pike.
I liked the moment where, so this felt like a weird inside joke to season 1. Like, you would only appreciate it if you had already seen the show. But when Saru's tentacles are lighting up and he looks over at one of the other officers and he says, "Really, are you surprised?"
Yeah. Yeah.
Because his tentacles identify, like, danger and fear and that sort of thing. And that was, like, a really cute Saru moment. Like, there were little things in this that I think, like, was like, oh, I remember liking this character. Like, everything Tilly did, she's the best. I didn't actually dislike, what's his fuck?
Stamets.
He didn't bother me this episode, but he was also in it for all of 2 seconds. But he did get really shitty to Tilly, where he said, "You're amazing and wonderful and blah, 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 but repeat after me. I need to talk less," or whatever. Yeah. And I was like, what kind of patronizing bullshit is that? Like, how is that? It was supposed to be this funny joke that was just not okay.
Yeah, I guess I didn't see enough of their relationship in season 1 for me to buy that she would be quite so devastated by him leaving. I mean, I knew she liked him, but I really did think it was more just like, you know, boss, employee, or supervisor, you know, employee kind of situation. So to have her be quite so devastated, I didn't know she had connected with him. And I don't connect with Stamets as a character, so I don't see how anyone else could. It was nice to see Wilson Cruz.
That was nice. I forgot that he died. And then I was like, oh, shit.
I know. So I hope we get to see more as we explore more of the mirror universe in this season. I don't know. How many episodes do we get this season? Is it going to be another?
I hope it's
13?
5. I can put up with 5.
Yeah, I don't think we're going to be lucky enough to get one of those European seasons. I think we're going to have to sit through at least 13.
We just all need to move to Europe is what needs to happen. I did love when Tilly yelled, this is the power of math, people. That was
she is the
best
only person who could have delivered that line and had me not roll my eyes, you know? Like, it was cornball as hell, but...
I loved there was this moment. So, I really liked... You know, I don't think I realized it at the time, and I'm only realizing it now, but I liked the exchange between Tilly and Michael, where Michael tries to get a sample of the, like, bedrock or whatever, I don't know, asteroid field, and it won't beam out with her. Mm-hmm. And so then she, like, does all this research and finds out that it's something, black hole something, I don't know. And then next thing you know, like, the entire ship, like, captain, everyone is, like, on board to, like, figure out what this thing is, right? Like, I kind of thought that it was going to be this, like, private little excursion and Tilly's going to kind of do this, like, secret thing. But they, like, brought in this huge, massive piece of the asteroid. And it was just this really cool visual of everyone being like, holy shit, we got this thing. Like, what is this thing going to be? And then her yelling, this is the power of math. Like, I thought that was all really nice. Can we also, since I'm thinking about this scene, I have a lot of comments about people's appearance on the show, which I save privately for Ebony while I'm watching the show to get it all out.
But is there stuff to unpack there? Because I have a lot of thoughts about this too.
Some of it is just me being petty. Yeah. And so, well, you know,
save those for what's at.
But I think that there's something, so this is actually there. I don't think there's anything here, but other than I want to acknowledge that in sickbay, Michael looked different. She looked softer. Like, I remember being like, holy shit, she's really beautiful. Like, I think, and not that, and the reason I don't want to talk about it is because I don't bring this stuff up is because I don't want to focus on appearance as value or any kind of value here. But the more I think about it, like, that's a very interesting choice. The way that they have framed her and shown her for the whole show versus this one moment in sickbay where she's like, more feminine, she's softer, her like she's got that kind of makeup that makes you look a little like red, like what is the word I'm looking for?
I don't know. I'm sitting here trying. I'm watching you trying to
figure this out.
Articulate
where
this.
it's like it's softer, right? It's a little bit pink. It's whatever. And I remember just being really taken aback and being like, "Whoa, is this the same character?" Like, interesting choice.
Yeah, I mean, she does look softer, and you know, she's out of her uniform. You know, she's not, you know, wearing like skimpy underclothes or anything by any means, but you know, we see her bare legs. She does look more vulnerable. She looks, you know, slightly younger in that moment, and yet she's still got that Burnham intensity. You know, she's not minimized in that moment, and she's not like, you know, falling apart emotionally or anything, which, you know, she might have done given the horrific experience she just had of assuming that, you know, she might have been left to die on that asteroid. She had this, you know, grave injury to her leg. She has some weird ass, you know, hallucination, which is going to come back. Who cares in the rest of the season? But yeah, she looked amazing.
She did. And I liked it. Like, I liked that. I struggle because I don't really... We have to talk about this every week, and we got to watch this shit, so I got to find some things to like. I can't hate everything, but, like, I don't really love Michael's character, and I don't really love the acting of it. Like, I think there's a lot of things happening where it's fine to me. Like, I'm not going to berate it by any means, especially because there's so much worse on the show. But, like, she doesn't... that whole thing doesn't... This whole fucking show doesn't do it for me, so whatever. So there was something.
What do you like about the show? Because I know there are some things that you were like, oh yeah, you know.
I don't remember. I've tried to wipe it out of my memory. When I watched
this is going to be hard, Anita. It's going to be hard doing this show with you week on week.
So before the hair report, I would like to talk about fortune cookies.
Do we have to?
Yeah, we do.
Oh, God. I had hoped that we had seen the end of that, you know, with the end of Lorca in season one.
So in the, like, previously on, they show Lorca with a goddamn fortune cookie, which I forgot about. And I think they did that because in this episode, you end a scene with Michael and Pike talking about how there's no chairs in the fucking room with the captain's room or whatever, blah, 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 and needs to make it more friendly. And there's this I thought it was the end of the episode. There's a really long pan into a fortune cookie that says, not every cage is a prison. not every loss is eternal.
Yeah.
So deep, Ebony.
I was waiting for like the Yanni to cue in. I was just like, what is this bullshit fortune cookie wisdom? You know, like we talk.
Like, is this foreshadowing?
Clearly, you know, because we see in the preview for next week or for later in the season, like it looks like Tyler is gonna be back. We know we see Laurel. You know, I'm so.
But also, was that supposed to be Spock, who was the other guy that kind of looked like Tyler, but beardier?
Right. See, this is what was confusing me. So I'm glad you brought this up. So in the previews for what's coming next, you know, we see her search for Spock. Ha ha! Her search for Spock is going to be a large part of season 2. So we see a person that might be Spock in various scenes, but then at some point, I think it becomes Tyler, who's, you know, been imprisoned somewhere. And so then we get a quick scene of her kissing this person. But because I thought it was Spock, I was like, is she straight up kissing her brother? I was so grossed out until I realized it was Tyler. But you know, I have thoughts about this because I'm like, okay, we don't see a lot of Black Vulcans. We don't know how many there are, right? We know they are there, but we don't know how many Black Vulcans there are. So Spock has this Black foster sister, and then in the J.J. Abrams series, he and Uhura are dating. And I'm like, is there something weird going on? I know this.
Oh my God.
I know I'm inventing this weird thing, but I'm like, I just want to know that Spock has had enough exposure to Black women such that he is not fetishizing Black women. You know, it's somebody's fucked up fanfic. Okay.
So, are we sure it's Tyler that she's making out with?
But she can't. Please tell me that's not Spock. That can't be.
No, but
right?
it could be somebody else. It could be another love interest.
Right, but would they have tried to introduce that? Oh, and you can't, like, come on. They're not going to put her with someone who looks that much like Tyler, are they?
Do you really put it past them?
It was so quick. Oh my God.
It was so quick, but also
bonkers.
then there were shots of this other guy who was this bearded white dude that I was like, oh, the new lover is going to look the same. And then I was like, wait, is that Spock? Yeah. Is that weird casting?
Somebody explain this to us. Hit us up on
don't know,
Twitter
man.
And explain who this is, because I'm not going to put any more thought into it than what I have put in right now. So,
well, you know what? You know what's really lucky for us, Ebony?
What?
We're gonna watch every motherfucking goddamn episode of this
Together.
fucking season together.
Yeah. We're gonna watch it. Oh boy. Yeah. Are you ready for the hair report?
I am. I'm so ready for it.
Okay. Now I have. My hair report touches on a lot of different things because I had lots of thoughts. And I'm very excited for Joe Black to hit me up on Twitter and let me know whether he feels as if I'm walking a straight road here or whether I have gone off the rails. 1, I am very concerned with who is doing Michael's hair on Vulcan as a child. This is just a question I have for the Star Trek universe. Again, we don't see a lot of Black Vulcans. Who is doing that child's hair? I don't want her to have some fucked up situation, but I'm wondering if maybe she's had some heat damage.
It might be
and
that white
that's why
woman.
we see her with that short hair, right? And remember when we first saw
her white adoptive mom, yeah,
Amanda, right? When we first saw
the
her,
helmet
her hair
thing
was straight, yeah. And I'm like, I bet there's some heat damage behind that, and that's why she was like, I gotta cut this shit off, go natural. At some point last season, I think I came down on the side of believing that her hair in this show is they're doing their best to mimic like 4C hair, but it's a lace front wig because the hairline shifts sometimes. And I'm like, is it me? Is it the lighting on the show? But I swear to God, her hairline, when she was wearing the Mighty Morphin Power Ranger suit and she has that helmet on, her hairline is Sonequa Martin Green's natural hairline. And then later, when she has the helmet off, it's back to being that lace front. So, I don't know.
The sort of blocky thing style of hair.
Yeah.
I don't like it.
I like it in some scenes. I don't like it in others. Sometimes it looks a little dry, you know.
I feel like
Other
they
times
could
it
make
looks
her
very
look
moisturized.
so much cooler.
Well, I like it because I like the texture of it, but I feel like if with that kind of thick 4C hair, Google it if you don't know what I'm talking about, it can just be more architectural at that length. So, you know, I just wanted I don't know.
But then I want the
a little
sides shaved a little bit more, right? Like I want something a little more like.
Oh yeah, I can't do nothing with those sides. But
yeah, like that, and it bothers
do?
me. And did you notice that when she had her helmet on, it squished? And I was like, "You look better. She looks better."
I know with that short hair. I know, right?
Yeah,
I know it looks great. Also, I will say, going back to Burnham as a child, the actor who played the child Burnham has radically different hair texture. I was like, okay, sorry. 3C hair does not become 4C hair.
But
someone needs to get on that. Listen,
that young actor had the most amazing eyebrows. I was like, I don't know what's happening here. Some emotional shit's supposed to be happening, but man, you're killing it with the eyebrows.
Anita, the stuff you think of.
I'm gonna have the eyebrow report.
Okay.
Next episode.
Okay. The final part of the hair report is actually not about Michael Burnham. It's about the vision of the Klingons that we're going to see this season. Did you see those fucking banana soup ass wigs they put Laurel in? And the other Klingon woman. In this
episode?
At the very end, for like when we're looking forward to future episodes. So we're not getting blonde. We're not getting bald Klingons. Listen, these are some Party City ass wigs. I am so ready because I'm gonna lose my shit when I see this stuff. I think maybe that's where they ran up against the end of the budget. So yeah, that's my hair report for this first week. Please let me know your thoughts. It doesn't matter if you disagree with me, but I would love to know why. And there you go. Yeah,
Ebony doesn't mind dissent. She just needs an
audience.
Critical. She needs a solution.
I just need someone to know I just need to know that someone's listening. And I know there are 3 of you out there. At least one of you has opinions on the hair report.
Fair. Before we wrap up, and
can we do a quick shout out to the disabled crew member who was on the show? Hopefully we'll get to learn who that person was. There was someone in the background of a shot wheeling through the corridor in a wheelchair. Right on. Let's find out who that dude is.
I totally missed that, so that sucks. I hope they become an actual
part. Part of the crew that we learn about.
Yeah, totally. Okay, the whole Spock found the Red Angel.
What the hell is that?
Is that a TOS thing?
Not that I recall. Maybe it was an episode that I haven't watched enough, but
hit us up if that's a reference to something that we should know. We're the most uninformed Star Trek podcast in the world.
Listen, this is how I am as a fan, though. Like, I love things and will watch them over and over again. But there will be key parts of lore that will have just either escaped me or that I will have forgotten. So, totally. I'm fully expecting folks to be like, I can't believe y'all didn't know this.
Well, I think that we should take Pike's advice to Michael when he says, on this adventure, we'll have fun, make a little noise, and ruffle a few feathers. And I feel like that's what you and I do, Ebony.
Take that fortune cookie. Get out. I'm done.
All right, theme song us. Are you ready to theme song us?
Wow. Okay, yeah. I don't know why we got Pike for Captain Saru was great. He's spicy and nice. Burnham's hair is still a mystery, but Tilly is awesome and I love her so much. Season 2, what am I gonna do?
Amazing. Okay, I am now further convinced that we need to have some backers be able to watch this as a live stream because your hand motions and everything, that was just, that's worth it. As much as I was not wanting to do this podcast.
You know what is great is that we have a new person helping us put these episodes together. Cannot wait for her to listen to this and be like, what the shit?
Yeah,
what
we should probably have credits and stuff. Okay, so let's just pretend episode 1 of the new season is us just doing a practice round, and then the next episode we'll have a proper intro and outro and all that shit. But in the meantime, please support us making this podcast by giving us money to keep making it.
It seems weird to ask you for money after we just dropped that steaming bowl of...
Amazing. But we have to pay a producer to put this shit together for us. It costs us some money. So if you kick in a little bit, it is super appreciated. And, goes to help Feminist Frequency in general. And your donations are tax deductible. Take that, other podcasts.
Yeah.
So go to feministfrequency.com/donate or d.rip/ FemFreak. You can find me at Anita Sarkeesian on Twitter. You can find Feminist Frequency at FemFreak. You can find Ebony at a rotating cast of usernames every week. Where are you this week?
This week, I'm going to make it easy. I'm at Ebony Aster.
Whoa.
I know. Don't tell anybody. There's only 3 people that listen to this show, so I'm safe.
All right, y'all. Thank you for joining us on this first disastrous episode of this disastrous show. We love you. We're so happy to be back with you.
Uh-huh.
Mm-hmm. I mean, I like our listeners. I just don't like this fucking show. And half of our listeners don't watch the show because they agree that it's terrible. They just love hanging out with us.
They do.
Which I like hanging out with us, too.
You know what? And we met a couple of those awesome folks when we were at Geek Girl Con in October
Yeah, and on our
2018.
book tour.
Yeah, so that was awesome meeting those folks.
Yep,
and
totally.
especially those people who bought banana soup pens from me.
Banana soup pins.
Yeah.
Yeah. All right, y'all. Thanks for joining us. We will see you next week.
Next week.
Bye.